So when we talk about Saul, Saul was anointed king, but God specifically told Israel that they did not need a king, that God specifically wanted to be their king. But it's like the Israelites just couldn't hear it. So then they got Saul, which is always kind of crazy to me, is because God specifically chose Saul to be king, but Saul was a bad king, right? And as we read, most of the kings were bad kings. But when David comes, David is so amazing because he is a man after God's own heart. Yes, David has had flaws in the sense that he slept in adultery with Bathsheba, and then he got her husband killed because he got Bathsheba pregnant. He was trying to cover up her sin, which is, all of that is horrible. But when it comes down to David actually leading God's people, he did not falter. When it came down to David not fearing any enemies that he was against, he did not falter. And even when it came down to God telling David, I'm going to kill your child that you had with Bathsheba because this was born as an adulterer, David accepted that God's punishment and continued to get up and continued to work and do for God. Because David understood one thing: if God is punishing me, God's punishment is just. I'm not going to take this one thing that God did, which was like kill his child, and turn against God. And I'm also understanding that I'm here for a reason. And every time David did something, no matter if it was to fight Saul, no matter if it was to escape Saul, no matter if it was to slay Goliath, he always said, I come in the name of the living God. God said to do this, or I am praying. So David always got his way, because David's life was not easy. His family did not believe in him. His brothers did not like him. They was making fun of him because he was a sheep herder. And then when the prophet came to anoint David to be king, they didn't even call him out with the rest of the people because that's how low they thought of him. But was David's self-esteem affected? No. Because what did David say? When I was in the forest and I was in the woods tending them sheep, I was speaking to God in my quiet place, and I was slaying those lions and I was slaying that bear. So now I know that I could slay Goliath, right? And so that's what you have to understand. Not everybody gonna recognize your purpose. Not everybody's going to get what God has for you, planned for you, but David understood that. David knew, and David was not anointed to be king right away. He went from the shepherd's field to just being around in the kingdom. Then he went to slaying Goliath. Then he went to fighting a whole bunch of battles. Then he went to running from Saul because Saul was trying to kill him. He even had the opportunity to kill Saul, but he maintained his godly character and said, I'm not even going to touch a man of God because I ain't going out like that. See, that's what you talk about when God saw in David's heart the type of man that he was, that even in the valley of the shadow of death, and this man is trying to kill me, I'm not even going to put my hands on a man of God because God once blessed him. So I ain't gonna put myself in that position. And that's when you kind of see the character of David, the best king and the king of Israel that we constantly know.
Not ready for the show to end? It doesn't have to. You can head over to my site where you can read hundreds of articles. And also you can feel free to shop my store where I have all of my products for sale. And last but not least, for even more video content, feel free to visit my YouTube channel where I talk about a wide array of content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay blessed.